Got you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Emigrates Open Day. Welcome. Today, we're going to be taking a look at steps on accessing the technician visa routes. Welcome to Emigrate Open Day. We're looking at UK global talent today. The various journey that you can take, the various pathway, various steps you can take to emigrate global, to assess and exploit, if I can use that word closely, emigrate UK global talent. And this section is a freemium session, it's free. We'll be helping you understand what is technician, what are the global talent inquiries that you can grab online free of charge, the technician platforms, the how to get a sponsor, how to get your requirements, gather your information, gather your knowledge, gather your profile, or appraise your profile correctly in such a way that you become attractive to the technician community. We're looking at that. We're also looking at beginners. If this is your first time of applying, or your first time in tech, or you're trying to negotiate your way through tech, we have steps for beginners, steps for intermediate, and steps for someone who is a professional already. Today's edition, we are looking at understanding the UK Global Talent Visa. That is what we are talking about today, understanding the UK Global Talent Visa. And we have Bade in the house who will take us through step by step the UK Talent Visa, what it entails, what are the possibilities, and what you should look out for. Right. So sit back, relax, forward the links and invite to your friends who will benefit from this. There's a lot of information that's going to be shared around the UK global talent, around technician, around migration to the UK, around becoming global talent and becoming globally attractive. So invite your friends. If they are not here yet, please talk on them, send an invite, nudge them to log in. This promises to be an exciting one, right? Before we go right into it, who are we? We're Emigrates, and what do? We specialize in with tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. That's what we specialize in when we're talking about relocation and talking about settlement. Using tech pathway, that is our forte. We are not immigration lawyers, but we are emigrates. We'll give you information that you can also find anywhere else if you do the due diligence to search for them. We have experienced in this field. We have a lot of success stories. Also, on the back of those success stories, we are now feeding you information that you can leverage to relocate or to settle in a new economy or in a new demography, as the case may be. Today, we're talking about understanding the UK global talent, right? If you stay to the end, there are bonuses, there are opportunities that you can leverage on. We have free resource from technician that you can leverage on. We have updates on the visa that we will be sharing also. At Emigrate, remember, it's tech-enabled pathway. We're not going to be talking about student routes. We're not going to be talking about nursing routes. We're not going to be talking about any other routes to relocate to the UK. We're talking about leveraging on tech to relocate to the UK. And we're focused today on understanding the global talent visa, right? Previously on Emigrate, we have talked extensively with various guests in the house to talk about the UK global talent visa. We've talked about the US visa also, O1 visa. We've talked about the Canadian startup visa. We've talked about Australian global talent visa. We've talked about a lot of the visa opportunity. Move to the UK, which is the startup visa. We've had guests, extensively talk about the different routes and how to leverage what you have, your profile, your tech-enabled skill to migrate. So if you haven't seen any of these videos, they are free. They're on YouTube. You could check them out after this session, right? Subsequent edition, upcoming edition of Emigrate, we'll be looking at UK startup visa, right, which can also be called the innovator visa. We'll also be looking at the global talent visa, just what we're looking at. Not the same way we're exploring global talent today. We'll still have another session in the near future where we can also talk about global talent. We'll be talking about global talent visa. Also, move to the US as a global talent will be coming in the near future, hopefully before the end of this quarter. And also a startup visa for Canada will look to bring you those editions. So if you have friends, family, colleagues at work who are looking to relocate to any of this country, who have tech foundation or who are in tech, please forward the links to them and let them join this session, right? And we promise they will have enough information that they can build their tech journey on. So again, what is Emigrate? We help you become globally attractive, right? At Emigrate, what we do is to build people and build a profile in such a way that they become globally attractive. What we are focused on is tech profile or tech-enabled businesses. So we build profile, we build individuals, we build businesses, startup businesses to become globally attractive. The bottom line or the mainstay for us is you must be in tech. You must be a tech business or you must be a tech individual, building in tech, managing a product, full stack, back end, front end. As long as you're in tech, we can build a profile around your tech skills and your tech experience to make you globally attractive. And like we often say, the visa is only a side effect of the fact that you're globally attractive, right? Once you become globally attractive, the visa is only a side effect, right? Nations will open their doors to you automatically with ease because they're looking for people with your tech skills to come and benefit or to come and move their economy forward. What can Immigration Service cover? What does Immigration Service cover? We have information sessions every now and again. We have general inquiry session. You can reach us through any of our channels and to ask questions, to inquire about one visa type or the other. We have coaching and hand-holding session where we can sit with you, understand your journey, and a coach can take you through, a dedicated or, roadmap the curated roadmap that suits your schedule, that suits your skill set, and that suits your vision, right? Which is what we call self-directed roadmap to qualify you to become globally attractive and by extension give you tech-enabled visa access. That is what we do. Emigrate, we do this largely for free, right? But we also have the premium service, right? Where we have the Emigrate Circle. There in the Emigrate Circle is a premium community where you have personalized coaching session, which is about 30 minutes to 1 hour. We have various packages that you can access. And if you drop a message, we'll contact you through the chat and give you access to the various channels. Before the end of this session, we'll drop the links to the various Emigrate social channel, and you can join any of the channel or any of the communities. We have a WhatsApp community, we have a LinkedIn community, we have Facebook community. So you can leverage on any of the community and signify interest that you want to join the premium community, and we'll gladly move you over to the premium community. But first, if you're interested in any of these, the first step is to signify your interest, is to go to bincom.net/emigrate, right? And request for Emigrate Service, right? bincom.net/emigrate. The second step is request for immigrant service at blog.bincom.net/immigrants pricing. Either of the steps you take, we'll contact you and guide you through the process. Immigrant packages include move to the UK as a global talent, which is a visa type that is specifically targeting the United Kingdom, right? And that is the visa type we're going to be talking about today, the Tech Nation visa or the UK global talent, right? We also have packages that include move to the UK in 3 to 6 months. That is the UK startup visa or the UK innovator visa, right? Its focus country here is also the United Kingdom. We have moved to the US as a global talent. The focus country here is the United States. The focus visa here is the US O1 visa for individual with extraordinary ability or achievement, right? It's interesting to know that every one of us have extraordinary achievement. We just have to look through our profile and look through our journey and what we have achieved and be able to put them together in such a way that is globally attractive. So don't shy away when you see words like extraordinary ability or extraordinary achievement. You probably meet the criteria already. By the time we start talking, you start understanding what I mean, because some of these extraordinary abilities or extraordinary achievement are things that you might have achieved in your day-to-day work, in your career already, and it's just to put them together in such a way that anybody accessing them will see you as globally attractive, right? So we also have moved in 2023 now, moving 2023. These are 5 tech-enabled visa pathways to explore. Again, the UK, the US, Canada, France, Germany. Depending on your circumstances, depending on the uniqueness of your circumstances, we can curate your roadmap and walk you through any of those visa paths of your choice. Now we have the UK-enabled visa path. The UK tech-enabled visa path, this speaks to, focus here is skilled workers. The skilled worker visa, the focus country again is the United Kingdom. If you're interested in any of this package, or you have friends and families or relations or colleagues at work who talk about these countries or who talk about having access to these nations, you can send them the Emigrate links, let them join the Emigrate community, and we can coach them to the destination that they want to go to. Right. Again, we have WhatsApp communities. We have the Telegram community. We have Facebook community. We have LinkedIn community. These are all Emigrate community. One of the beauty of being in a community is that you share information. So there's a lot of sharing going on. There's a lot of exchange of information, exchange of ideas. You meet people that are on the same journey with you, and you can pair with them, to make the journey easier. Right. And I encourage you, once you join the community, engage with the community. Don't just be passive. Like, share, comment, invite people to the community, share your experience, let people learn from you, and also be open to learning from people also within the community. It's a very vibrant and robust community, so take advantage of that. Other services at Bincom Dev Center. So it's Bincom Dev Center is the mother company that incubated Emigrate, that's bringing Emigrate to you. And Bincom Dev Center has other company she has incubated over time. And one of those companies is Bincom Global Tech Program. Bincom Global Tech Program gives you an opportunity to learn tech skills, and give you an opportunity to work on tech profiles, right, to gain experience and give you exposure. Right, so one of the 3 pillars of Bincom Global Tech Program is learn skills, you gain experience on the job, real-time experience on the job, and also you gain exposure because you are dealing with real customers, real issues, and not mock, real-life customers and real-life experiences. So those are the 3 pillars. So if you are new to tech and you're looking for a place where you can start your tech journey, Bincom Global Tech Program is one platform that you should look towards. We have beginner level programs, we have intermediate level programs, right, running, right? If you go to bincom.net/global tech, right, it will take you to a page where you can already start to join the next cohort, the next cohort of the Bincom Global Tech program. It's very competitive. It's a 1 to 2 year program, right? And we have different payment method if you are interested in leveraging on payment methods. So there's no excuse why you are not in the Bincom Global Tech program if you're looking to start your journey in tech, or if you're looking to grow your journey in tech, right? All right. The other company within the Bincom Dev Center is, it's a Bincom mentoring platform. I think I skipped a slide. Bincom mentoring platform. What this platform does is give you an opportunity to be a mentor to upcoming tech enthusiasts, and also an opportunity for you as a tech enthusiast to network and have mentors and be a mentee to a mentor within the Bincom mentoring platform. So do you know anyone that wants to be a mentor? Do you know anyone that qualifies to be a mentor that is not on the platform? Please invite them. We're building a community where we will decentralize mentorship. You can easily access mentors. You know, one of the biggest questions I often get asked is, or frequently asked questions I often get asked is, you know, where can I find a mentor? Who are the mentors? Where are the mentors? You know, so what we're trying to do with this platform is to make that common, so you can log on to the platform, bincom.net/mentors, and you would get that rights, and you would get assigned a mentor. You can choose a mentor, or you can sign up to be a mentor, or sign up to be a mentee of in the Bincom ecosystem. So it's, again, I encourage you, if you are starting up in tech, you need a mentor. You should be looking forward to opportunities like this, to meet people that have gone ahead in the field that you're coming into and learn from them. Right. We also have Last by Bincom. Last by Bincom, it's a product-led digital technology platform, or a platform or accelerator program that allows you join a team of cohort, usually between 5 to 7 members cohort, right? Which gives you guys the opportunity or the mandate to build a digital product, right? So for many of us, probably started our tech journey, learning at home, self-taught. We've not been able to build a product. We've not been able to join a team or we've not joined a team before. We've not worked in a team. You know, we're just learning our side, or learning a particular skill set. Bincom, but Last by Bincom give you an opportunity to bring your skill sets or theoretical knowledge and put into practical while working with other tech enthusiasts like yourself, right? So it gives you an opportunity. If you haven't built a product before now, it gives you an opportunity to join a team to build a specific product, right? And most of the time, we have people with different skill set, whether you're UI, UX enthusiast, or you are a front-end developer or a back-end developer. This platform brings everybody together and give us a common goal to build a product that is solving specific problem in the society that we belong to, right? So it's an amazing platform. It's a 3 to 6 months program. We have team. You join a team and you can create a startup from there, right? You can create a startup from scratch by building a product from scratch. Practical learning opportunity, and improve your career, improve your CV generally, improve your portfolio. So for us techie, that's, we have, probably we're looking for how to build our portfolio, right? This is a good opportunity to build your portfolio, because you are building a product from scratch, you're building a tech startup from scratch, and you can add that to your CV, your resume, or your portfolio, right? We also have a tech career coaching service, which is we call the Headhunter service. This helps you land a role faster, right? So if you are in the Bincom ecosystem, you probably know about this, but if you are new, let me introduce you to the tech career coaching service. It's a headhunter service that connects you to employers, right, within the tech field, right? So if you are a tech enthusiast or you are intermediary, you're looking for opportunity to get a tech role within the tech ecosystem, right? This is a platform that you want to sign up in, beacom.net/tech career coaching, right? It helps you, this platform, you build the necessary and the relevant experience in your target tech area and also in your country, right? It also connects you to tech recruiters, right? So we're like a bridge that builds a connection between you and tech recruiters across the world, depending on the country of target you want to work in. And we have opportunities for you to, get jobs with work visa sponsorship. So if you are looking for tech opportunities, tech roles outside of your primary country, one of the things you're looking out for is which job can sponsor you over, to make the migration process a little bit more easier. Those are the benefits of, of this platform. It connects you to recruiters across the world and connects you to job with work visa sponsorship. Now, when you get into these communities, you have to be studious. You have to engage the community. Yes, these opportunities do exist, but you have to prove yourself to, be able to attract some of these opportunities. You have to work with a mentor. You have to, must have built your profile using Last by Beacom if necessary, right? You must have a portfolio that is attractive, that recruiters and headhunters all across the world will want to go through or want you to join the team that they are recruiting on their behalf. So it's very important that, while these opportunities do exist, you must engage in the communities to leverage this opportunity. Some available tech-enabled visa and routes for relocation and settlement. I ran through some of these before now. The startup visa, for the UK specifically, we have the startup visa. Also for the UK, we have the innovator visa. We have the global talent visa, which we'll be talking about today extensively. We have also the skilled workers route. For the US route, US focused visas, we have the O1 visa, the EB2 visa, and we have the EB1 visa. Focus country, like I said, is the United States. For Canada, we have coaches that can put you through startup visas, how to navigate the Canadian startup visa route. For France, we have French tech visa. There are other visas that are not listed here, but if you join the communities, you speak to a coach, we'll be able to unpack many of other visas. So many of the European countries like Portugal, like Spain, are coming up with startup visas. They're coming up with tech visas that allows digital nomads to come to their country for 1 year with their families to settle in and work from those countries. So in the emigrate community, we share more light on those visas as they are being released, as they are being launched, and we can coach you through the process of landing one of those visas or navigating your pathway through using tech to migrate into these nations with tech-enabled visa. The common denominator, right? Like I said initially, is that we want you to become globally attractive, right? You cannot leverage tech and decide to move to another country if you're not globally attractive. Your CV must be presented in such a way that these countries will be happy to invite you over. For a nation or for a country or for a company, I should say, to want to pay for your visa, to sponsor you to come over and join them, you must have a very attractive profile. And it's not something that is far-reaching. It's something that if you start today, you can build a very, that's the beauty of tech. You can build a very attractive profile before, the year runs out, right? By leveraging on some of the opportunities that I've talked about today, and by leveraging on the opportunity that we're yet to talk about, which is the income, which is the global talent I'm missing it. Global Tech Talent Visa, which is the Tech Nation visa. I keep missing it because of the Tech Nation. Right. Immigrant visa opportunity focus. Right. Pathway to settlement. Most of the visa we're going to be talking about gives you pathway to settlement, allows you move with your family, and they are friendly to beginners. Friendly to beginners in the sense that you can plan, a 6 to 1 year plan as a beginner, or a 1 to 2 year plan as a beginner, and you have the opportunity to walk through and get those visa and get this opportunity, right? The focus is also on only tech-enabled opportunity. That's what we do here. Like I said before, now, we are not going to be talking about student routes. We're not going to be talking about nursing routes. We are not going to be talking about visitors visas. We're talking about tech-enabled visa, right? During this edition, we're going to be discussing in depth the UK Global Talent Visa, right? In this edition of Emigrate Open Day, right? The list here is not exhaustive. There are more focus. Like I said, there are European countries that are opening their doors to digital nomads, and there's some of those information do exist within the Emigrate community. So if you're part of the Emigrate community, you probably can speak to a coach regarding any visa that you want to leverage or you want to take advantage of, right? I don't yet qualify. These are questions we often get from beginners. I don't yet qualify. What do I do? Where do I start from? Well, now for us, we want you to come with an open mind, but we also want you to come prepared, to implement some of the things that you are going to be hearing today, right? Our speaker today, Bade, who is a coach within the Emigrate community, is going to take us through understanding the UK Global Tech Visa. As we were speaking earlier today, and he was saying he's going to do it as simple as possible, just to make sure everybody can grab the information, everybody can run with the information that he's going to be sharing. So you don't know where to start, please pay attention. Ask questions. The chat is open. If you have any question, please drop the questions in the chat. Once Bade is done with his presentation, we'll come back and answer all the questions, right? And also, we'll be dropping the links to the various Emigrate community within the chat group. Please click on the links and join the community. It's very important. This is just an event, right? But you want to stay close to the source of the information. You want to be connected every day of the week to understand what's going on, what's new, what should I be implementing, what should I be taking advantage of. So once again, welcome to the Emigrate Open Day. And I think this is the first for the year 2023. So we're excited to get on. We're excited to have you here. And that's it. Hi, buddy. Are you set for us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Welcome, Hello. Welcome. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Hello, everybody. And thank you for having me as well. Okay, so Moody, can I share?
Stop sharing, yeah, so that you take a screen.
Fantastic. Okay, so hi, everyone. I will be sharing my screen shortly as well. Thank you for joining us at this edition of Emigrate Open Day. Our focus today is around understanding the UK Global Talent Visa. And for today's edition, what we intend to do, and I'm hoping that we would have a lot of questions in case we don't do our intention, is to try and break down the UK Global Talent Visa into the base level in terms of, I'm just finding out about this visa. What is the Global Talent Visa? What are the things that I need to know? Right. So starting from people that are just finding out about this particular visa opportunity for the first time, we think that we would break it down as much as possible. But we're also asking that please drop questions in the chat, because with your questions, we may be able to go in a different direction. With your questions, we may be able to answer some things that we may have skipped. We may be able to answer some things. We may be able to answer some things that we are not sure if you do understand or not. Right. So we will start from just the basic. What is even global talent? What is that? What are we talking about? Right. Then we will also be talking to people who say, oh, I'm planning to apply sometime soon, maybe in a year's time, maybe in 2 years' time, maybe in 3 months, maybe in 6 months, but I've not decided to apply, but it's something that I'm looking at for my future. Right. We will be speaking along those lines as well. But then moving on to people who say, oh, I'm now preparing my application. I'm now preparing my application. I need a lot of help. I need information. It's a bit daunting. You will find out that there's a lot of information, but with the wealth of information then comes a challenge because you're looking for a needle sometimes in the haystack. We're hoping that this session would be useful for people in that category. And then for people who've been endorsed as well recently, right, and you're looking at applying for your stage 2, well, we do have a couple of tips here and there and some information that may be useful. And also for people who are already planning to move to the UK, we've got something called the Welcome Party. It's an open document actually, but it's something that is extremely useful for people who are looking at moving to the UK. We'll be speaking about that as well. So that's the session today, but just so that I have a gauge of the people in the room, could you drop in the chat what level are you in terms of these items that I've mentioned? Are you one of those that, oh, I'm not even sure what the Global Talent Visa is about? Please drop it in the chat. Drop in the chat if you are, oh, I'm planning to apply sometime soon and I just want to find out more information, or I am preparing my application, right? And I need more information around my applications. Please drop in the chat so we sort of have an idea of the different people that we've got in the room as at this moment in time. Or yeah, if you've been recently endorsed and then you're wondering what next, or if you're looking at moving to the UK and you're looking for additional help as well, please drop in the chat. That way we will be able to sort of understand the audience, and we'll be able to use that to also focus the part of what I talk about to answer your questions. Also, if you have questions as I'm speaking, please drop the questions in the chat. Please drop the questions in the chat. It's unlikely that you will remember because we'll be sharing a lot of information. So it's unlikely that you remember your question later. So what I ask is please drop, if you have any question, drop them in the chat as we proceed in this conversation. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So one of the questions we get a lot is, oh, for some people, they are just finding about the UK Global Talent Visa. So the question is that, what is this about? What is the Global Talent Visa? Some people then get confused as well to say, oh, when you say Global Talent Visa, are you talking about the Tech Nation Visa, or what are you talking about? So let me explain it this way. The UK Global Talent Visa is not only for the field of digital technology. Digital technology is one of the fields, but it actually encompasses many fields basically. So key categories would be academia or research, arts and culture, and then digital technology. In Emigrate, we focus on tech-enabled visa pathways. We focus on tech-enabled visa opportunities, particularly the ones that lead to settlement. That's what we focus on. So you'll find out that Emigrate focuses more on, obviously, the digital technology version of the UK Global Talent Visa, which is also called Tech Nation Visa. The reason why it's called Tech Nation Visa is because there's only one endorsing body today for the category digital technology. We don't know, maybe tomorrow there may be other endorsing bodies. As of today, there's only one. There are some categories that used to have 2 endorsing bodies, 3 endorsing bodies at a time, but then some of them are being weeded down now to just 1 endorsing body as well. And so that's the reason why it's called the Tech Nation Visa as well. Tech Nation is actually a company. Tech Nation does not only focus on visa. They do a lot of other things. They do innovation fair. They do a number of other things as a company. But one of the things they do, and one of the biggest things I believe that they do, is the Tech Nation Visa, where they are able to endorse people to move to the UK as global talents. But then when we say global talents, what do we mean? What the UK is looking for, and this is not unique to the UK, it is actually every forward-thinking country of the world. they've discovered that, oh, talent is what we must fight for now. Maybe in the 60s, in the 70s, and all of that, people were fighting for oil. They were fighting for where would we drill minerals? What would we drill under the ground? But the world has changed. The world has realized now that intellectual property, talent, is the new oil. And so what the world is doing, and particularly forward-thinking economies, is that they are trying to bring the talents in the world to their jurisdiction. The reason is very simple. Those people will be able to create jobs. They will create innovation. They will create unicorns. Unicorns are $1 billion companies. They will create for them. They will create employment. They will create new jobs. They will pay high taxes. They will be able to fund the economy. And they realize that, oh, if that is the case, for many of the Western countries as well, they have a problem of aging population. Some of their people also, in terms of their natives, are not interested in aspiring for a lot, right? In some cases, not all of them, just some of them. And so there's usually a skill gap. In the UK today, there's over 100,000 jobs that are vacant and they are not able to fill. I'll say that again, over 100,000 jobs that are vacant and they are unable to fill. So they know that they cannot fill these jobs as of today. And that's the reason why the Global Talent Visa and similar visa opportunities have been created. They've been created to say that if these people are highly skilled, they are leaders in their field, they are highly innovative, they have recognition in their own economy, then let them move to the UK and they will be able to build the UK tech ecosystem, right? In the case of the Tech Nation visa, or the other ecosystem in the case of other visa options that are available as well. So that's the reason why this visa opportunity exists. Right. And so if we know that that's the reason why it exists, then one of the things we probably want to then find out is that, okay, how can I benefit from this opportunity? The first thing, obviously, is that you need to be globally attractive. You need to be globally attractive so that you then have the option to say, oh, fine, this is a visa pathway that I'm interested in. But remember that I mentioned that there are many countries also that have different programs. There's the Australian Global Talent Visa. Incidentally, it's called the same thing, Global Talent Visa, Australian Global Talent Visa. But the requirements are different. The Australian Global Talent Visa is more focused around academics and so on. There's the US O1 visa. Hypothetically, if you already qualify for the UK Global Talent Visa, you probably would qualify for the O1 visa as well. It's a bit harder. The O1 visa in the US is a bit harder to qualify for than the UK Global Talent Visa. But hypothetically, their requirements are very, very similar. And there are several other options as well. Moody mentioned some of those options that you may want to look at as well. But then our focus today is on the UK Global Talent Visa. Remember that our focus is the one for the field of digital technology, and we're going to get into the Tech Nation Visa Guide in a few moments. But then some people will ask questions like, and all the information I'm sharing, if you notice, all I'm sharing are browser tabs where I'm just going from one tab to the other, just sharing some information. Many of them are available in the public domain, but then I will be sharing some perspective for those information already in the public domain. Somebody would ask something like, oh, can my family move along with me? The answer is yes, you can move along with your family. Then somebody will say that, okay, how long is the visa itself? It depends on the level that you are endorsed for. For the UK Global Talent Visa for digital technology, moving forward, I will just call it the Tech Nation Visa. For the Tech Nation Visa, you can be endorsed under two categories. You can be endorsed as exceptional talent or exceptional promise. We'll come into what that means. We'll come into breaking it down. But what that means in high level is that at exceptional promise level, you will get, you'll be able to qualify for ILR within 5 years. ILR is indefinite leave to remain. That is the UK's version of what you would call permanent residency. It's called indefinite leave to remain, right? And then after 1 year of being on ILR, you will be able to qualify as a British citizen. That is if you qualify under the exceptional promise route. Now, for the exceptional promise route, you will no longer be considered, and we'll come to speak about some of the updates that has happened around this visa type over the last a couple of years. We'll look at that, some of the changes that has happened. But as of today, you will no longer be considered if you have more than 5 years of experience in the field of tech. You can no longer be considered under the exceptional promise route. The only option for you is the exceptional talent route. Now, understand what I've said. If you have more than 5 years of experience in the field of technology, what that means is that you could have years of experience. You could have been a lawyer for 15 years and then you switch to tech. It's on the day you switch to tech that 5 years starts counting. So technically, you could qualify as exceptional promise with someone with 25 years of experience in career generally, but then just 3 years of experience in tech. You could qualify under exceptional promise. The key point is, when did you join the field of technology, and how much have you done within that time in the field of technology as well. Now, there's a second category, which is the exceptional talent category. With the exceptional talent, this is for senior people, more senior people in the field of technology, and more like leaders in the field of technology. With the exceptional talent option, you would qualify for ILR within 3 years. And then 1 year after your ILR, you would qualify for citizenship. And so within 4 years, you can become a British citizen if you qualify under the exceptional talent route. Usually, exceptional talent will be people with more than 5 years of experience in the field of tech, and then you have to show that you've done a lot of things. We'll be looking at those things that you need to show over that time in the field of technology. Let me quickly chip in something. We're going to get there, but just to chip in something around the documentary evidence. One of the key things around the Tech Nation visa is that you need to show documentary evidence. You need to show documentary evidence of why you are exceptional, why the UK government should consider you exceptional. The UK government will consider you exceptional because Tech Nation is, with the endorsing body, would give you assessors who would assess your profile, the documents you submitted, the evidence you submitted, your personal statement, and everything you submitted to say, oh, you are exceptional. Then get this endorsement so that you can apply to move to the UK as a global talent. This will show you some of the fees, and then you can look through as well on this link for you to get more information about the visa. Next thing I will mention, and I've mentioned already, that Tech Nation is the endorsing body for digital technology. And so the next thing I'll just talk about is the fact that on the Tech Nation side, there is a lot of resources. One of the things we advise people to do is spend time before you spend money. Spend time doing your own research. There's a lot of information available, and there's a lot of people available to help, many of them for free, but then some also at a premium as well. One of the things that you can start with is the readiness checker on the Tech Nation side. We are aware that some people just send messages to people to say, oh, we think you qualify for this visa, come and pay us so that you can apply. Start by doing your own readiness checker yourself so that you can check to say, okay, fine, do I actually qualify? Do I have everything that it takes? Or should I spend a few more months building my profile before I apply? Right? So don't go and get into the situation where somebody just says, oh, you qualify, just come and apply, pay me, and then I'm going to apply for you. A lot of them happens, a lot of what happens with that is rejection because you haven't done your own work. And then in some cases, some of these people are just looking at collecting your money. But that's just by the way. One of the things you should take a look at is the readiness checker, because that would help you to say, oh, fine, let me check my profile, let me put all my information in, and they may say yes and no. But bear in mind that even if it says no, it may not be the truth, right? Because it doesn't say, it won't say no, you can do the following things. All it will say is yes or no, and so on. The next thing you should think about is the Tech Nation Visa Guide. And the Tech Nation Visa Guide would, I'll skip the roadmap, I'll skip the reports, I'm looking at time. The Tech Nation Visa Guide is one of the documents that we advise that spend time reading these documents. what I advise is read this document twice. It will take you an average of about 1 hour to read this entire page, right? It will take you about 1 hour. Read it twice. The first time you read it like a storybook. Just read it to see, okay, what are they even talking about? What are they looking for? And all of that. But then the second time you read it with a pen and paper, noting down to say, oh, they are talking about X and I've done Y, X, Y, Z before in my past. Let me note it down. This may be some of the things I could use. Now, don't be too bothered to say, okay, maybe I didn't gather evidence at that time, because for some of us and for many people, you didn't know to say, oh, these are the things that they are going to ask of you now. We've heard of people that said, oh, yes, they invited me to speak here, but I just told them I wasn't coming and all of that. But then the fact that you were invited to speak says something. Right? We've heard of people that would say, oh, I wasn't even taking cognizance of all these things. For many people, and we've had a number of success stories come to the Emigrate platform, come to the Open Day. We encourage people to watch the Open Day videos, particularly when you find people who have a similar profile to yourself. We try to ask people to share with the Emigrate community what they submitted, what kinds of documents they submit, what are the things that they used for their submission. We try to ask those questions. So we encourage you to take a look at some of those past videos, take a look at some of them to say, oh, fine, what are some of the ones that I can use to build my own profile? Now, coming into I'm planning to apply, what are some of the things that I should be thinking about? Or I'm thinking about applying in the future, what are some of the things I should be thinking about? Before I move on, I need to talk about the fact that when we say tech, we do not just mean the technical side of technology. We mean both the technical side of technology and also the business side of technology. What you're seeing on my screen right now is some examples of the skills that will qualify on the technical side of technology, but also some examples of skill that will qualify on the business side of technology. So we've got DevOps and SysOps, we've got hardware engineers, we've got operating system engineer, we've got UI UX designers, and several other technical skills. Please bear in mind that this is not by any means an exhaustive list of skills, and it is clearly written here to say that fact. But then there are also business skills that will qualify: the project managers, the marketing managers, right? It's written here as performance marketing, SaaS sales, and so on. All of those would also qualify in the Tech Nation visa route, as long as you are working in tech-enabled digital technology field, right? It has to be tech-enabled. It has to be tech-enabled. So you can't just say, oh, fine, I work in tech, so therefore I'm qualified for this visa. That isn't the case. Now, specifically, Tech Nation says that if you are a consultant, then you by default do not qualify, but don't go away yet. I would give you a caveat to that, right? So if you say that you're outsourcing, you're a consultant, you're doing consultancy, you're a system admin and all of that, you by default do not qualify for this visa. However, there's a caveat to that, which is this. If you're a consultant, but then you are working in a fintech, and you are actually the consultant that is actually building that fintech, then, or any other technology, if you're working in any tech-enabled digital technology, so I'm not just saying fintech, it can be anything at all, but as long as it's products, right, then you could likely qualify. Because what you would then want to put forward in your profile is that, oh, I'm the one that was able to help get this product to this great place where it is now in the ecosystem, rather than saying I'm a consultant that has consulted from Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. A, and so on. So that's something you may want to think about, right? Also, it's possible that, oh, you've deployed a particular solution, right? You built an hospital management system. This is one of the life cases that we worked on, right? You built an hospital management system, and that hospital management system, you've actually deployed it to several different clients. That is a product, right? So rather than thinking of you as a consultant, then think of you as you built this product that 20 hospitals are using now. Right. And I hope that helps somebody out there. These are other options of categories that do not qualify and all, but then the focus is these are skills that qualify both on the technical side, and these are skills that qualify also on the business side of technology. The focus is that you should be working in product-led digital technology. So interestingly, you can't say that head of IT for a bank, because head of IT for a bank is not you doing product-led digital technology. But then if your bank has a fintech app, then that is product-led digital technology. It may not make sense to some of us, but I'm just trying to break it down in the way we understand it. And we've done many of these applications. We've supported people over the years as well. Yes, so let me move on. I'm looking at time. I've not even gotten anywhere. For your documents, you need a bunch of documents when you're applying. You need personal statement. You need your 3 referees. Then you need to qualify under certain categories as well. I'll talk about your personal statement for a moment. We advise that you write, and all this information I'm sharing, everything I'm sharing on my screen is in public domain. So don't ask that, can we have the slide or anything like that. Everything that we are showing you today is in public domain, at least on this part of the presentation. Your personal statement, one of the things we advise is that do your personal statement last. Yes, your personal statement needs to contain all of this information. Why do you want to come to the UK? What is your planned occupation? And so on. And there are a few other information that is in the formal guide that may be helpful to you. What your personal statement needs to do is to tell a story. Package yourself in a certain way. Don't forget why this visa exists. This visa exists to say, because if this visa existed for everybody that is in technology, then everybody would apply, everybody will qualify, and everybody will move to the UK. It doesn't exist for every single person in the field of technology. This visa exists for the leading talents in the field of digital technology. So you need to be able to paint a picture that, yes, I'm one of those leading talents in the field of digital technology. This visa does not exist to do you a favor. They are not doing you a favor at all. Remember why I told you it existed? Is because they are trying to bring talent to their economy, because those talents are going to build their economy. That's why they are doing it. That's why it's available. And so you need to sell yourself from that perspective to say, yes, I'm one of those talents. What are they looking for? They want to see what are the things that you've done in the last 5 years that shows that you are that talent. Have you built something that has a lot of traction? Have you been innovative? Are you a leading talent? Have you been recognized? And several other information like that. Do you have a PhD in some emerging field that nobody is even thinking about right now? Those are the kinds of things that they want to see. They want to see those indices to say, oh, yeah, this is one of the leaders in the field. Right. So you say you work for a 50-man company, and then you don't prove to me that, oh, you are that one person that made this thing happen. You're just one of the 50 people that made this product happen. Then you don't qualify for the visa. I'm sorry. Right. However, if you show me that, okay, I'm the key brain behind this thing, all of those 50 other people were actually following my lead, or they were working for me, or they were just doing different aspects of it, but I was the core of this innovation, then you qualify. I hope you understand the difference. And that's what you need to do. You need to sell your story from that perspective to say, I'm the key person, I'm the key woman, I'm the key man in this digital technology, in this product-led digital technology, in this startup, and so on. You don't have to be the founder. If you are the founder, it's maybe easier. I must say, if you are the founder of a startup that has a lot of traction, a lot of recognition, it is easier. But then if you're a senior executive, or if you're an executive or even an employee in that organization, and you have proof, you have documentary evidence that is able to show that, oh, this is the person that is making things happen, then you qualify. And what you need to do is package yourself in that perspective, right? That's something we would mention. You need to submit your CV. Make sure that all your documents tell the same story. Don't say in your CV that you have 10 years of experience, and then by the time you submit your evidence, you will say that you have 4 years of experience, because you are trying to see if they will endorse you for exceptional promise rather than exceptional talent and so on. Make sure that your story gels to say, this is who I am, this is where I started from, this is what I've done now. And then also your recommenders. So remember, part of what you need to submit is your personal statement, which I've said to you that please do it last. Put together all the other evidence, and then let your personal statement now be the summary, telling the story of all the documentary evidence that you put together. It's an advice, it's not on the guide. But then your recommenders also have to write about you. Now, this is the interesting thing. Your recommenders must be a senior member of the organization, and they must know your work. They must show that how they know you. The recent update in the guide about 3 months ago, we shared it during one of these open days as well, is that they need to have known your work for at least 1 year. So they need to show how they know your work for at least 1 year. They can't say that they met you in this accelerator yesterday and then they are endorsing you today. You need to build those relationships. If you probably already have some of those relationships and you want to build more of those relationships, they need to be able to talk about you in that same way which I just described a few moments ago. They need to talk about you from that perspective, because what the technician visa is saying, that technician is saying, is simple. If these 3 senior executives are able to point at this person as being globally attractive, then we should take them seriously. Of course, we want to confirm that, is it this person that wrote? Is this person that actually wrote, or they are just using his letterhead or and so on? We want to confirm that, does this person actually loan the person that he's referring? And then they want to confirm, this person writing for you, are they leaders themselves in the field of technology? We are not asking if they will endorse for technician visa and all of that, but they will Google your endorsement, they will Google your recommenders. They will Google them to say, okay, do we know this? Do we know this person? Does the industry know this person? Does the industry know this person as a leader in the field of technology? They will look at the person's profile. Not everybody is available on Google. So don't make that mistake to think that, oh, your recommender must have 1 million followers or all of those kind of things. No. The key point is that if they find out, they check the profile, they check the person, they check everything about that recommender, they want to see that this person is a leader in the field of technology. And this leader in the field of technology is now pointing at someone to say this person is promising in the case of exceptional promise, or this person is a leader in the case of exceptional talent. That's how the visa is structured in terms of the requirements for the technician visa. There's a lot of information that you can read here. But the last one I'll talk about on this tab, I'll keep going until they stop me, and then we'll start asking questions, because if you can see my tabs, I've only gotten to number 7, and I was hoping to go through all the tabs I have open at the moment. Is about your 10 pieces of evidence. This cannot be additional letters, or generally should not be additional letters. Yes, you can add one letter or the other. Maybe, for example, you don't have some information that you need to have, or you should, and so on, or those things are not available. Then maybe the organization can write a 1-page letter, but don't depend on those letters. It's part of the requirements as well. What they want to see at this point is documentary evidence. It can be email, it can be flyers, it can be contracts, it can be all sorts of things, but not that you are writing additional story to say the same thing you've already said in your personal statement. You've told us already in your personal statement. What you need to show here now is different pieces of evidence that says that the things in your personal statement is true. That's what you need to show here. What do I then mean by that? Yes, they said to you that you need 10 pieces of evidence in this place. But what we say to people is that plan to supply 45 pieces of evidence. What do I mean? 10 pieces of evidence of 3 pages each. Why don't you do it in such a way that each page of that evidence is talking about something else? So it can be 1 page of your employment letter, the page that talks about your salary. It can be 1 page of the letter of invitation, what they want to see. And so if you calculate that, you'll see that that is 30 pages in total. Then in some cases, some of those pages can even have more than 1 thing. So a flyer, you can put 4 flyers on 1 A4 paper, for example. So if you've spoken at many events over the course of your last 5 years, the evidence has to be over the last 5 years. So don't supply evidence from 2010, 2005, and all of that. They want to find current champions. They want current champions to move to the UK, not past champions. So it has to be within the last 5 years. But then if you've spoken at tons and tons of events, then you can have multiple flyers of those events in multiple pages. And so what we say to people is that instead of thinking about, oh, I just want 10 pieces of evidence, think about 45 pieces of evidence. That's what we say to people. And then you can structure them. It must not be past the 10 pages. You can't even upload more than 10 pages, but then you can't upload more than 10 documents. And each document must not be more than 3 pages each. If it's more than 3 pages each, it means that you can't follow instruction. They don't want you, right? And we have a story of someone that was not endorsed because all his evidences were more than 3 pages each. True life story. It wasn't somebody we coached, but it was somebody that we had to then advise. And that person had to reapply because he didn't follow instruction. He or she didn't follow instruction. Speaking about documentary evidences, have as many as possible. When you're applying as well, apply with the endorsement review process in mind. And why I say so is that when it comes to the endorsement review process, I didn't get to that on the other tab, but what you need to know if you are learning about this visa for the first time is that unlike many other visa types where when you apply and they reject you, they won't give you feedback. In this particular visa type, they will give you detailed feedback. They will say that the reason why we can't endorse you is because XYZ or ABC or DEF and so on. They will say to you why they can't endorse you. Also, part of the application fee that you have paid for, you have also paid for an endorsement review process, which is like an appeal to say the assessor or panel of assessors. Usually, if you are going to be endorsed, one assessor can endorse you. If you are not going to be endorsed, one person may reject and the next person will also reject and all. But yes, that your assessors got it wrong. And this is the reason why they got it wrong. There's a whole form for it. There's a whole process for it. We can also advise on it in case you've been rejected and all. But then that's what you need to do. But here's what I'm saying. When you're applying for the visa, apply with that endorsement review process in mind, because you will not be allowed to add more evidence during the endorsement review process. All you can say at that point is that these are the evidence I submitted. Somebody else should take a look at it to say that I think I qualify. These are the reasons they say, and this is my own counter argument to those reasons based on the evidence I have already submitted. So what you want to do is that because you're applying with the endorsement review process in mind, you want to put in evidence that you don't even think you need during the main application because you may need to refer to it during the endorsement review process. I see Moody has already come up on the screen, and so I'm sure there will be many questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was trying to allow you round up your thoughts, so that we can ask questions and make it more engaging, and also give you a minute to catch your breath. You've been running through a lot of information, and I'm sure the participants are loaded with information and questions. So guys, if you have questions, please drop it on the chat, and we have also dropped the link to join our communities. Like I said, we have open day, I think twice a month. But our community is open every day of the month, so you can always engage and ask questions. You can speak to a coach, you can share information, and know the latest as to what is going on in the emigrate world, right? And by extension, what's going on with the various migration countries that we are tracking. So join the communities. Yeah, somebody was asking, is there a replay? Yes, there will be a replay of this edition, like our subsequent edition. You can find the replay on YouTube after the
Modi,
session.
just before we take the question, let me just close on this page so we know that we've closed on all the
Okay.
thoughts that I wanted to share from this page, and then
All right.
we'll go into questions.
Okay.
Yes, so one of the things I was just going to talk about is on this page as well. So we are still on the Tech Nation Visa Guide page. That's the page I mentioned to say read it twice. Read first time as a storybook, read the second time with pen and paper to say, these are the mandatory criteria. We haven't spoken about criteria. So sorry. Let's talk about the criteria briefly before we, for the people that are just hearing about this for the first time. If you're exceptional.
I was expecting when you finish, we can talk about the somebody has asked, there's a question around criteria that I was going to ask that will segue into criteria generally.
Okay, fantastic then. So exceptional promise, these are the criteria that you need to meet. Exceptional talent, these are the criteria that you need to meet. But then the question is that how do I show that I meet these criteria? There's more information on this visa guide around that. But just briefly, in terms of the criteria, before now, there used to be 2 mandatory criteria. You could pick one, and then there were 4 optional criteria. You needed to pick 2. Now, there's only 1 mandatory criteria. That has changed for about 2 years now, so it's not a new change. And there are 4 optional criteria. You need to pick 2. Right. So you need to show that you have been recognized as having potential to be a leading talent in the digital technology field in the last 5 years. That is the mandatory criteria. And there are different ways in which you can show that, different documents you can submit. One of the things we advise is you can submit 10 documentary evidence. We will say to you that submit 3 documents for 1 criteria, submit maybe another 3 documents for the next criteria, and then another 3 for the next criteria. You have 1 more document to go, and then you can decide to say, which one am I not the strongest in? Let me add 1 more document in this place as well. The other criteria on the screen, innovation, recognition, impact, and then academic excellence. You need to pick 2 out of those ones, aside from the leading criteria. Exceptional talent is also similar. What you need to do is that you need to show that you're a leading talent in the field within the last 5 years. They don't want past champion. You then need to show 2 out of these 4: innovation, recognition, impact, or academic excellence. Those are the things that you need to show, and there are details on how you can show that also on this page. Back to you, Moody.
All right, thank you. Amazing session. Thank you very much. That was very thorough and that was very detailed. And I know that there are more that you want to cover, but let's take some questions. And the first question really was on criteria, right? And you've actually answered that question to what are the mandatory criteria. That's right. So the next question I would like to pick from, and before I continue, guys, you can drop your question on the chat. We'll do well to answer them. This question comes from Jacob and is asking, who is qualified to write a recommendation letter for easy endorsement? Is there any requirement for someone that can recommend? Right, I'm just paraphrasing his thought. So who is qualified to write a recommendation letter?
So they need to be leaders in the field, and they must know your work. They need to be the leaders in the field of technology. And so that means they are, if I look at their profile, I should recognize this person as a leader in the field of technology. It's not about years of experience or anything like that, but then their profile should show that this is a leader in the field of technology. And then they must know your work. They need to show in their recommendation letter to say, this is how I know this person. Oh, I met this person because we were working together in the past, and then I've known the person's work moving forward. Oh, I met at a conference, and then we've been tracking each other since then. Oh, I've been mentoring this person for a while, and so on. Or I've been friends with this person for a while. They must know your work. So they must show how they know that you are exceptional. So they can't just be pointing at you from afar. They must point at you to say, I know this person and this person is exceptional. And they must be leaders in the field. One of the reasons why people get rejected is that if they are recommenders are not recognized as leaders in the field themselves, they could get rejected because the person pointing at yourself, we don't think the person is a leader.
So the key criteria, just to summarize, the key criteria is the person has to be a leader in their chosen tech field, for them to be able to write a recommendation letter. All right. The second question is, does the Global Talent Visa come with a job opportunity or opportunity to start your business in these countries?
So the answer is yes and no. Yeah, no, in the sense that when you get the visa, it's not like you automatically have a job, right? In fact, when you move to the UK, right, you will find out that for some people that it may take a couple of months to even find a job. For some people get a job within their first week and second week in the UK, but some people takes about 3 months. And part of that challenge may be in some cases you don't have UK experience, there are a couple of things like that. We've spoken a bit about that on an Emigrate Open Day focused on landing a tech job in the UK tech ecosystem, because that was actually targeted at global talents that have moved to the UK. But no, in the sense that this visa is not tied to a job. It's one of those visas that we would say is like a gold standard in visas. Many visa opportunities are typically tied to an employer, meaning that you have to work for that employer or find another employer that will sponsor your visa. This visa opportunity is one of the few ones that doesn't have that requirement. What that means is that when you move to the UK, you can technically do anything in your field in the UK, in the field of digital technology. I say in your field because by the time you want to apply for ILR, you need to show that you've earned at least £1, just £1, right? You've earned some money in the field of digital technology in the UK. It's part of the criteria for ILR, which is permanent residency. However, for the visa itself, you are not limited to an employer, but it doesn't come with an automatic job offer to say, oh, because you have this visa, you are now going to be working in Google. You need to package yourself for that next step as well.
All right, interesting. The £1 part is very interesting. Thanks for breaking that down, Bade. All right. The next question is coming from Emmanuel, and it's asking, does IT professional certificates play any role in tech visa?
In this particular visa, no. For Australia Global Talent Visa, yes. For UK Global Talent Visa, no. And the reason is because 3 years ago or so, one of the criteria was something called continuous education. That criteria was removed about 2 or 3 years ago, 2020, December or thereabout. That criteria was removed. So what that means is that you can't say, oh, these are all my certifications. That makes me exceptional. That makes me exceptional talent or exceptional promise in the field of tech. No, that doesn't work anymore. Instead, what you need to show is what are the impact of your work? How have you been recognized in your field? The places you've spoken, the kinds of things you've done, and some of those criteria. But no, it's not a case of, oh, I have certification in CCNA, so therefore I'm exceptional. No.
All right. Mustafa is have a submission, right? My application got declined and I want to apply for a review. Please, I need help regarding my application. So I would just advise you, Mustafa, if you can join the community, we'll link you to a coach that can walk through your application and the review process. We cannot X-ray for purpose of, we cannot X-ray the particular reason why it was rejected on this call because it's a mixed crowd, but we can connect you to a coach that can walk you through your application. So thank you very much. Please join any of the community and let us know that you dropped a message in the chat.
I will also just mention that Emigrate offers 10 minutes free with a coach, which you can take advantage of for you to get a feedback from the coach. This is free, right? And if you wait in any one of the Emigrate Open Day sessions till the end, you get an extra 10 minutes again free, which is a second session that you can get with a coach one-on-one for you to be able to get feedback on something like this. So you can present your reason for rejection and the coach can give some feedback to help in terms of direction and so on. If you want help with writing the endorsement review and all of that, that's going to be a premium session. But if you want some feedback in terms of what it is that you can do and all of that, then it's available for you once you join the community.
All right, thank you. So we have a next question here. So please, how possible is it for a beginner to build a profile for the technician visa within 1 year? Because I felt they want to see consistency, e.g., you have published materials or given public talk consistently for 2 to 3 years. So this person is a beginner.
Yeah. So 2 to 3 years is better, but within 1 to 2 years, you can actually build enough evidence to show that you are promising in the field. What do they want to see? They want to see track record. They want to see that, oh, this person began like this, and then over the last 1 year, these are all the things that this person has done. This person has now been recognized in his field. This person is now leading an open source project, for example, in his local community. And that open source project has now grown in that local community because of this person's active contribution. Or this person started a startup, and all of a sudden, this startup has grown 10x. 5x, 10x, and all of that. Oh, this person joined a startup company, and that startup company is able to show growth, income, revenue because of this person's contribution, either as a software developer, as a product manager, as a digital marketer, and all of that. So you can show that track record within a 1 year period. However, it's actually better over a 1 to 2 years or possibly 3, 4 years period to say, this is my track record, this is my growth over a period of time. But yes, it is possible for you to achieve that within a 1 year period. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot you need to generate. You need 45 pieces of evidence is what we say within Bincom Dev Center that you need to generate for you to be able to show that. And it can't just be, oh, I spoke at a 20-man event. No, it has to be that, okay, I've grown over this period of time, and these are the track record, these are the evidence. You have to also build relationship with leaders in the field of digital technology. So you can't say that, oh, it's the boss of my company that I have a relationship with. No, you need to have other leaders in the field of technology who also know you and know your work. Maybe because they are mentoring you, maybe because they've seen you grow, maybe because they worked with you, and so on. Those are some of the things that you need to build over that 1 year, or over that 2 years. If you've already been doing some of these things, then some of the things you've done in the past would count as part of what you can use over the next couple of months or years, depending on where you are in your career. Hope that helps.
Yeah, I think that helped a lot. Yeah, thank you for breaking that down nicely. So we have a question here, which is interesting. So do you need proof of funds if you are switching to the global talent visa from within the UK? So this person is already in the UK, and I think this person is looking to leverage on the global talent visa to remain in the UK. So do you need a proof of fund if you are switching to the global talent visa within the UK?
The answer is no. Interestingly, this is one of the visa types that you don't need proof of fund to apply to move to the UK. And the logic behind it, we think, is the fact that because they know that you are globally attractive, you have many options, you are highly sought after, you won't find it difficult to create a new company that will earn income, you won't find it difficult to get high income employment, and so on. They don't ask you for proof of fund at all for this particular visa type. You will still need to pay the IHS surcharge, which is the payment for NHS. You will still need to pay that, the IHS surcharge. It's £600 per person per year or thereabout. But you don't need proof of funds like you would for some other visa type, like the student visa.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
And even for switching as well, we've worked with many people that were switching. You don't need proof of funds, whether you're switching or you're a fresh applicant from outside the UK.
Okay, so just to be clear about it, so what they pay is the technician fee if you want to apply.
Yes, so you pay the technician fee. So that you actually pay to Home Office, not to technician directly. But yes, you pay the technician fee. I showed the fee in my first part of my presentation. I showed the fee. You would also then need to pay the IHS surcharge. Yeah, which is what you pay towards NHS, and not, that's the healthcare system in the UK, NHS, rather than you paying anything else. So those are the key fees that you need to pay.
Okay, cool. We have a lot of questions, so we'll move quickly. Is it true that Technation visa would cease to exist by March 2023?
The answer is no. It's definitely not March 2023. It is also unlikely that Technation will stop being the global talent endorsing body. It is highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. What is more likely is that there may end up being a second endorsing body aside from Technation. That's what we suspect. Now, everything I said is likely, unlikely, because we are not the UK government, we are not the Home Office and all of that. We don't have that information. The information that Technation has given us when those rumors that you must have heard came up, and Technation has also issued a lot of statements on it. We've shared a lot on this in our community. We've shared a lot of this during open days as well. Technation has shared a lot of information around what is going on. The rumor you heard had nothing to do with the visa arm of Technation. However, it's that rumor is out there, and Technation has said a lot around it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. This person is asking for tips. What are top tips to take note of for stage 2 application? Now, I don't know what stage 2 application mean. Are you reviewing, or what is the definition of stage 2 application?
So I suspect what this person is saying is I've been endorsed, and then now I'm about to apply for my stage 2. What are some of the things that we would advise? It was something I was going to get to during the presentation. It's unlikely to get to it again. So some of the things I would just say is, for your stage 2 application, you're already on your way to the UK. It's unlikely that you get denied for the visa. We don't know of anyone that got the endorsement and got denied for the visa. You don't, however, have to say that you are moving to the UK tomorrow. Plan whenever it is that you know that you want to move, then you can say that, oh, I'm moving in the next 6 months, I'm moving in the next 9 months. It's up to you, really. What that means, however, is that when they issue your visa, it will start counting from when you want to move to the UK. Why that is important to you is because you need 5 years in the UK when you want to apply for ILR if you are exceptional promise, or you need 3 years in the UK when you want to apply if you are exceptional talent. You generally don't want to apply for a renewal. You don't want to apply for a renewal, even though in some cases you don't have to get endorsed again. You just need to renew the visa. You probably don't want to be doing all of that. You want to just apply for your visa once, and then the next thing you do is you probably want to apply for the permanent residency, the ILR. And so the timing is important, because if you end up applying for 3 years visa, but then you are in the UK for just 2.5 years, by the time you are about to apply for ILR, it means that you need to renew the visa itself. So it's important that you calculate that very well. They don't expect you to move immediately. You can say when it is that you want to move, and then your visa will start counting from that time when you want to move. You need to plan to be in the UK for at least 6 months a year. If you're planning to just stop at the ILR level, but if you're planning to go to citizenship, then you should be planning to stay in the UK at least 9 months a year as well. There are a few other things to talk about along that line, but the key point is, and then there's a community that is available to help you once you've been endorsed. There are a couple of communities that you can join that is available to help around your move to the UK. We've got a document as well. The document is called Welcome Party. I'll just share my screen briefly because it's unlikely I'll get back to it anyway. So I'll just share my screen briefly. It was part of what I was going to say, but time was not our friend.
It's fine.
Yeah. So we've got a document that is also super useful that you may want to get access to. It's available within the Emigrate community. It's also available outside of the Emigrate community anyway. That would be helpful for you once you've been endorsed. Don't focus on this if you've not yet been endorsed. Focus on getting your endorsement. But once you've been endorsed, the Welcome Party document is pretty useful for you to start understanding some of the things that you want to be doing in the UK. And there's a community of support as well when you do move to the UK.
All right, thank you. So there are a couple of questions around recommendation letters that I was thinking of putting together and asking them together, but let's, one of the questions is, can two people in the same company, can two people from same company write a recommendation letter for me? Then the second one, I should just put them together. Should the leader be in the same field as the applicant, say a leader in the drone technology field and a software engineer? So we're talking about leader again, we're talking about recommendation letter. Then the third one says, let me just put the third ones together. See, you emphasize that recommendation letters must be from leaders in tech that knows you and know your work, right, within a year. But the guide states that each person who writes a letter for you must be a senior member of their organization, must be a senior member of the organization, know your work. So there's a disconnect there, Emmanuel. But I'm just going to paraphrase to say, must the leader be in the same organization, or must they know your work for them to recommend you? So those are like three questions around recommendation letters.
Yeah, so I'll take the first one first. Preferably not. Don't ask three different people or two people in the same organization to be your recommender. Preferably not. What that says is that you've not built a network, you've not built relationship outside your day-to-day work. Don't forget that if you read that guide, which I say you should spend 1 hour on, it will tell you a lot of times that the things that you did in your day-to-day work, but then it talks about the things you did outside your day-to-day work. The fact that you are showing two recommenders in the same company means that you don't have relationship outside your day-to-day work. Avoid it as much as possible. The guide is not explicit about it, but then experience tells me, based on rejections and all of that, that it's not something that you want to do. Find leaders in the field. In fact, if you are going to do a Emigrate coaching session, we'll ask you to present 10 possible recommenders, right? 10 possible ones. We only need 3. If you have less than 10, it's not a problem per se, but we only need 3. And what we want to do is make sure that your recommenders can write about you from 3 different perspectives, 3 different tone of voice, all of them pointing to say that, oh, this person is exceptional. So it's important that you find those recommenders. The person from your company, all of them are going to say the same thing from your company. So that's the first question. Second question was around 1 year. The requirement was not explicit until November or October 2022. So if you go and check the changes in the guide, in October or November 2022, the guide is now explicit to say that whoever you are picking as a recommender, they need to have known your work. They've known you and know your work for at least 1 year. And they need to show the working. They need to show how they know you like that for at least 1 year before they now say, okay, I know this person and this person is exceptional. I believe that's what that question is probably asking about. Go and check the latest version of the guide. You will find those changes on the latest version.
And must that person be in tech?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They must be leaders, not just that the person is in tech. They must be leaders in the field of technology, but they don't have to be in the same field as you. So it could be a business leader recommending a software developer. That's fine, right? But they must be in the field of technology.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's explicit. I think that's super useful. So the next question, Ayomide is asking, if I earn remotely in Nigeria, say $1,000 monthly as a web developer, is that enough evidence to show that I earn above the average pay?
Yes, but that evidence is just 1 out of 45 pieces of evidence, like I said, or if you read the guide, is 1 out of 10 pieces of evidence, right? Or 45, which is what we strive for you to present. So okay. Yes, that's good evidence to show that, yeah, you are earning above, the threshold. The $1,000, however, is actually just minimum wage. But what you can show is that in your ecosystem, that is considered high income. So yeah, you're earning 400K or 600K in Naira, for example, right? If you are based in Nigeria, which is what you're earning, and you're able to show that the average in my economy or in my industry, in my ecosystem average is maybe 300K or something like that, and I'm earning much more than that. So you have to give that caveat, because don't forget that in the UK, $1,000 is less than minimum wage in the UK.
Scotty, I'm sure that's clear enough. So it's asking again, second question from the same person. So for optional evidence one, can I use a failed startup that had traction but no revenue as evidence?
Yes, you can. You can. That's the simple answer to it. Don't forget that the world realizes that only 1 out of 10 startups will ever succeed, and they will fail for many different reasons. But you have to then show the traction during that time, how much it earned or number of users or whatever it is. You may also want to sort of qualify it to say this is the reason why it failed, because you've learned your lesson and you'll do better next time and so on. But yes, you can use that, particularly if it had traction. Right. The only challenge would be if you don't have any evidence at all, because you need to show documentary evidence, contracts, number of users, dashboard as at that time, growth as at that time, stuff like that.
Okay. So if you're trying to join the WhatsApp group community, there's a message on the chat. Please join the Telegram and order community for now, and you'll be moved to the WhatsApp group subsequently. Thank you very much. So we have a question here. So what is your suggestion for an applicant whose career has changed a couple of times, e.g. Business analyst, product manager, and digital marketer, and now a founder? So this person has transitioned between being a business analyst to becoming a product manager and becoming a digital marketer, and now the person is a founder, right? Does the applicant have to stick with one role for evidence presented in the application? Does the applicant need to stick to one role to present evidence in just one role for technician application?
It's very difficult for you to show expertise in all these fields at the same time. Very, very difficult. Next to impossible, in fact. Also understand the UK ecosystem. In many developing economies, they don't mind you to be UI developer, UX developer, product manager, business analyst, project manager, all of it, all join. You are the same, we are the one and the same. In developed economies like the UK, we are talking about the UK right now, they believe in expertise. So what they want to see is that, okay, this person is an expert in X. So what I would typically ask you to do, if you fall in that category, some of the people we've coached in the past fall in that category, is that which one are you strongest in? Right? And then you want to be building your story from that. Yes, we can talk about the fact that you've done other things, but you need to be able to stand on your two legs with a specific skill. You're a founder and you're probably a business founder in this case. And so you're able to show that, okay, I've had this expertise over a period of time, and then I'm now a founder using this same skill, but then building a digital product at this time. It's difficult to show expertise in all at the same time.
All right, thank you, buddy. Thank you. That's very thought. I was thinking how he wants to show expertise in that range of different careers. So pick one and apply with that one, right? If you've joined any of the community, for example, if you join the LinkedIn community and you are awaiting approval, the approval will be granted. Just be patient. I joined late. How can I get the guide? But I do want to share where they can find the technician guide, because I'm thinking that's where this question.
On google.com, Google Technician Visa Guide. The first link that comes up is likely the guide. If it's not the first link, you'll find it there. But then they can also drop the link in the Emigrate community.
Yeah, so if you're in the Emigrate community, just ask in the Emigrate community chats, any of the chats, you need the technician guide, and someone will make it available to you. Right, there's someone that said he was declined today or yesterday, and he needs a review. Please join the Emigrate community, and a coach will speak with you. And when Bade was speaking, he said you probably have 10-minute free session to go through your application. And if you want the coach to help you through and in terms of curating a response, then that's a paid service. But they can advise you generally on what to write and how to go about it free of charge. Yeah, so those are the questions that we found in our chat. So if you have any question that you have not yet asked, you have 5 minutes. We are running out of time. We have short our time by 5 minutes actually. And I was going to ask, Bade, do you have any more in terms of tips that you want to share with the house? Right, this has been super packed.
Okay.
Right.
So one more tip I will just share. I'll share my screen again. I was going to come to this. Apologies, we were not able to manage the time well. Hopefully, the Emigrate team will schedule this again where we'll do this better. One of the tips I was just going to mention is that a fantastic resource is the Discourse community. It's a fantastic resource because many of our coaches, many of the visa alumni and so on. This is alumni driven. When I say alumni now, people that have gotten the visa, many of them tend to try to contribute back to the ecosystem. And so with the Discourse community, what that does is that you can go there and you can also ask questions, and different people are able to share feedback to you around those questions. You can ask questions like, oh, Francisca Bade, could you please evaluate my profile, blah, blah, blah. And then people will give their feedback as well. It's also not immigration advice. It's not legal advice. It's just people trying to help and trying to help as well. It's a fantastic resource, many different questions, many different answers, many different perspectives. Not everybody will say the same thing about any particular question and anything like that. I was going to drill down into this and use that to say a couple of things and a couple of tips as well, but we couldn't get to that today. Apologies. But yes, so that's something that you should probably be aware of. I've mentioned about welcome party if you've already been endorsed, so that's something that you need to do. Oh yes, if you're waiting for your endorsement, you may want to check your spam mail. That's something I wanted to mention. You may want to check your spam mail because the endorsement comes very unassuming, very, very, very unassuming. I was going to show you a sample of the endorsement, but I couldn't do that because of time. And so you may want to check on your spam mail. You could get an endorsement within 24 hours, but the general average is about 3 to 4 weeks. So don't be opening your box every 24 hours to say, where's my endorsement, anything like that. But yes, we have a 24 hours record within the Emigrate community of someone that got endorsed within 24 hours kind of thing. So yeah, that's something else to mention. And then Mudi, you said final words, right? For the beginners, you can plan. Start planning now. Start looking at the things that they're asking you to have and all. For intermediates, they've given you the requirements. Assess yourself today, and then you are able to say, these are the gaps that I have. Let me work towards that gap. Maybe I've not done enough outside my day-to-day work. Maybe I need to change my job, right? Those are some of the things that you may want to think about, depending on what it is and based on your assessment of yourself, and Emigrate can help with those assessments as well. For advanced people, you probably already qualify because there are a lot of things that you've done. And even though you may not have been doing these things because you were planning to apply for this particular visa, it was dropping like footprints. It was dropping like artifacts that you may be able to find. If you scan through your email, you can find letters of invitation of different people asking you to do different stuff. Those are things you can use. There may be people that you've mentored, particularly on a structured platform. If you mentor people just one-on-one, not on a structured platform, it doesn't count. But if you mentor people on a structured platform, then that counts. And there are several things that you may already have. So don't discount yourself to say, oh, they said exceptional and I have not won a Nobel Prize, so I don't qualify. Don't discount yourself. If you're already in the UK and you're looking for a pathway to settlement, this is one of the pathways that you should consider first. We have a couple of success stories from that category as well, because this is one pathway where you are not tied to any employer. This is one pathway where you can do anything that you want to do. This is one pathway where you don't have to take a job that is beneath your skill. I'm saying it lightly. So a lot of UK students at the moment, what they end up doing is care, because they think that care is the only option that they have for them to get a pathway to settlement. And some of these people have 10, 15 years of experience in the field of technology, right? You may want to explore other options that you do have, particularly if you are close to qualifying or you already qualify. And so this is something you may want to explore. And then if you are planning to apply now, you get a 10-minute chat free with the Emigrate community. You can use it for whatever it is. You can use it to check out to say, okay, is there something specific I'm missing? You can use that for whatever it is that you have available. If you've done a full open day, you actually get 2 of such 10 minutes free within Emigrate community. The Discourse channel I showed in a few moments ago may be very helpful, and there are several helpful community. We are always happy to help. The only thing we are limited by is time, right? But always happy to help. And so take advantage of the help that is available to you. So final word is, the UK Global Talent Visa is available today. It may not always be available. It's available today. What you want to do is, depending on where you stand in that category, take action, take the next step. And I did mention the next step a few moments ago, if you were listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Bade. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was a very thorough session. Thank you, everyone. What Bade has gone through and what we have been discussing is understanding the UK Global Talent Visa. Bade has taken us from the beginning, what you should know, the criteria, the recommendation letters, and even when you get endorsed, when you're arriving, when you're in the UK, arriving in the UK, you're already in the UK, you want to switch to a more permanent visa. These are the tips and steps and processes that Bade has spent the last an hour and a half putting us through. If you, by chance, missed any of the session or you joined late, we would have this record available. We'll have this session available on YouTube, so you can catch the replay on YouTube anytime. You can also share the link with any of your friends, colleagues, family members who are looking to relocate or looking to use the UK Global Talent Visa as the avenue to relocate or pathway to settlement to the UK or in the UK already. So take advantage of the information. And also, we have a very vibrant communities. Like I said, the open day happens at most twice a month, where we share information like this. But these information are readily available within the community, and you can get hold of the information. You can, like Bade also shared, you can have a mentor or a coach review your application for you. You can ask questions around what you should be doing, what you are missing out, what you should be emphasizing on in your application. That's what the community exists for, to help, to support, and make sure you get your desired goal, which of course is to relocate, right? And we are not, I like to say that we are not a immigration law firm or immigration lawyers, right? So please take note of that. We are only sharing information that the global talent guys, technicians have made available to the public. Those are the information we are sharing. We're also sharing tips from our success stories, right? We have a lot of success stories. A lot of people have come through Emigrate and have this endorsement already. So it's those applications over the years that we are putting together to get, extract the tips to say, okay, this is what you should be doing. This is what works. This is what we think works, and this is what you should be doing. So these are advice from that we have gotten over the years from our successful application, and also advice that we've gotten from applicants that were not successful. All come together and give you this information, and you do with it whatever you will, and hopefully use it for the right reasons, and you get your own endorsement. And don't forget, this was brought to you by Emigrate. This was brought to you by Emigrate. And at Emigrate, what we do is to make you, our focus is to make you globally attractive. And the side effect of that focus is that you get access to nations, you get access to visas like the Global Talent Visa. We have the Emigrate platform, like I've talked about. We also have platforms that can prepare you to become globally attractive, like the Bincom Global Tech platform, which can, if you're a beginner or intermediate in the tech field, or if you're switching careers, maybe from a business field to tech field, the Bincom Global Talent, Bincom Global Tech program, it's a good platform for you to, develop your skill sets in the tech industry. And we have what we also call Labs by Bincom, which allows you join a cohort and build a product-led digital product. So if you are a back-end developer and you haven't built a product before, or a front-end developer, or a graphics designer, UI UX designer, you haven't built a product before, and you want to apply for technician, and it's stated there that you must have built a product-led digital product, right? You should take advantage of the Blast by Bincom to be part of a team that builds a product. You can come up to say, I built product X, or I built product Y, and this is what the product does. And that can go a long way to imparting your resume, to imparting your profile, and you can even add that to your portfolio because you'll be part of a cohort that will actively build a product. So thank you, everybody. There's a lot of information that has been shared. Hope you go back, you digest them. And like Bade said, it is worth it when you start taking action. So these 2 hours that we've spent together today will be worth it when you start taking action. So please take action. These opportunities are might not be available forever. So take advantage of the opportunity. Like I would like to say, in the lifetime of the opportunity. Now that we have this opportunity, the Global Talent Visa is a big deal. Please take it serious. Start the process today. Go to technation.io, right? And you can read everything about the Global Talent on technation.io. The criteria, the mandatory criteria, the supporting criteria. You can read supporting evidence. You can read everything about them. You can start putting your documentations together and start looking for, maybe do an audit of all the documentation and see where are the loopholes, where do I need to strengthen, where do I need to look into, what do I have to do more? And you can come into the community, a community like Emigrate community, and speak to a coach, to better audit what you have. And together we can work towards making you a globally attractive individual. Now, today we talked about the UK. Look out for the next open day. We'll be bringing, we'll be informing you on the nation we'll be talking about. We're talking about the US, we're talking about Canada, we're talking about the US. So pay close attention to all our social media platforms where we usually disseminate information and inform the general public of what we'll be talking about in the next Emigrate Open Day. And do us a favor by sharing the link, sharing the recordings with your friends, with those that are looking for this information, that are looking to travel. A lot of people are paying a lot of money for this free information. So do them a favor and share the link with them. Let them be aware that they can get value from this platform. They can get value from the Emigrate community. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time today. Hopefully we will see you around. Hopefully we will share your testimonial very soon on how you successfully got the UK Global Talent endorsement. Thank you. Do have a good evening, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.